This Thursday Night Football Props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store. Use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Week 14, Sean. Oh my!
Can you believe it, Ryan? Can you believe it's already week 14?
Are you having any football fatigue?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I'm sure you're rested because you took. What do you
mean?
Well, you were anti-holiday, so you took Thursday off.
What do you mean
from football? Yeah, you didn't celebrate the national holiday dedicated to football on Thanksgiving.
I celebrated.
Oh, okay.
I watched the games when I got back. I still had a great weekend.
Oh well,
smashed the first touchdown. Thank you very much on Sunday night.
And yes, 4-1, Ryan. We were in the Circa Million as a show. I think we're 13-7 for the Circa quarter. 22-13 run overall. And yeah, I think
we're still alive.
I think we're still in the mix to draw some blood here. I went 14-6. In my personal entry for the third quarter, I think I'm one pick behind our group picks. Although it's interesting because usually, and I feel like a lot of the stuff we play on our card for Circa Million, I end up playing. Well, yeah, and so obviously we usually play my locks, your locks. So it's like, well, what am I not going to play my locks? But then I think to myself, wait, why are you having a separate entry if you're going to play the same stuff? So I don't know. It feels like a lot of shuffling around for ending up in the same spot, but
for more money. That's why.
Yeah. Shout out to Chris Farley, aka Farley Bets on X. We had him on for a team preview. It was do you remember which team preview it was, Ryan? It was a random one. I'm blanking.
I want to say it was Baltimore Ravens.
No, that was Shark we had on for the Ravens.
Right.
I'm trying to remember which one we had on
Chargers. No, that would have been Justin Decker.
No,
I'll look it up.
Yeah, look up congrats to him. He won first place in the Circa Million. Third quarter prize. He went 19-1. Saints. I knew it was a random team. 19-1 because he is a Giants fan. We already had the Giants covered. I was not optimistic on the Giants. That prediction looking okay, but yeah, he went 19-1 for the Circa third quarter, cashed $150K.
Whew.
So he said he's going to be out there in Circa to collect his check. And maybe we get him on the VSiN show out there, Ryan.
Really?
I don't know, this week or maybe next week.
Check collection. Wow.
I asked him about it. He goes, I need it for this tax year, not next. So yeah, congrats to Chris. A huge hit for him, and just cool to know. So
you don't typically need the winnings this year.
Well, maybe.
No, I know it. It's a nice way of saying I'm having a tough year. I could make sure this gets on the books this year because it'll be as big zero either way. Right?
What?
Yeah, you're down big, so you can take the win this year.
Oh, or no? I mean, there could be a number of tax. I don't know his tax situation. But
generally, you want to get rid of the gambling winnings, not get them in.
No. Or if you're, no, but it also could be your personal income otherwise.
Sure.
Yeah. Or, I mean, to me, I would almost want to start it off in January so I could whittle away so I know how much I have to lose to not have to pay taxes on it. But We'll break down
hold on
his
a
personal
second.
tax situation another time.
What would that number help you do? Like, all right, I got to lose 1.2 million this year.
Well, you know what you're up against, and you can plan your entire. I don't know why that's crazy.
It's just a funny concept.
No, if you know, all right, let's say
after winning a massive sum of money, then planning your tax year. No, it's just a funny concept.
no, it's a problem I had to deal with, Ryan. So
no.
I have experience of the tax implications of winning six figures. So
yeah, no, you basically just have to find ways to lose quote unquote that money back.
not really. There's a number of ways you can offset it. Hit me up
that's
for
why
some
I said
tax
quote
info.
unquote. Lose it back.
We're here.
We're cool with the IRS.
We're here talking Thursday night football. Gonna hit on some props, and joining us, he is the host of the Propcast, also on NBA Gambling Podcasts. Moonoff, the Machine, Manji. Moonoff, thanks for hopping on. And wow, we got to start with your hair and beard, just looking fierce, looking fierce.
Do you have some sexual sound drop for this?
Ryan was distracted pre-show.
Well, the amount of pods that I do on the network, you got to keep it looking good and clean for the followers. But hey, next year, when the Circa Millions sign up start, you guys got to get in a team name called the Lean Tower. Played all the leans.
Oh yes,
you may win that $150,000.
just the leans. I like that.
That's a funny concept. Have a lean entry.
These are my 5 best leans. I'm going to be playing them every week on the Circa contest.
Just have to call it clean. Stop the lean.
Hashtag clean the lanes. Moonoff, how you been doing on the how are things going on the Propcast? What do you got cooking up every week?
Yeah, Propcast is going on really well. We've been really, really profitable with our best bets. Of course, our touchdown scores. There was, I think it was that San Francisco Thursday night football game. I think we nailed all 3 guys that scored. I think we had Kyle Juszczyk in there. So it's been really profitable. Yeah. So we go 4 times a week now on the Propcast. We do Thursday night football Propcast, and then we do the Sunday games, and then we just fired up the NBA Propcast as well. So busy times over at Propcast. So it's been a lot of fun thus far. So if you're into player props, hey, come join us. Myself and Chris, we're absolutely crushing it thus far.
Yeah, Moonoff's got some great TDs.
Oh yeah, let's see those TDs.
What we need a basketball equivalent of that. What is that like?
Yeah, well, I guess you can't. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think on that.
We'll have to think on that one. Yeah.
Do you?
That was a little tricky.
Yeah, you don't want to just say, "Can I see your balls?" Or maybe you do. Whatever you're into. Moonoff, do you do you guys?
Points could be something.
Have you guys? I check out the football related Propcast, but the basketball. Have you guys messed around with the first bucket market at all over on the Propcast?
I was just going to mention that that was something that we want to incorporate this season, get a little degen in there, of course.
Oh yeah.
But I know our guy Gumby's been crushing it on the first basket props over on our website, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. So check him out. But yeah, we'll definitely incorporate that into our Propcast here. We know we're just getting our feet wet. People are starting to focus on the NBA once Christmas times comes around. So we're just getting warmed up. So we'll incorporate that for sure into the Propcast there for the NBA.
I like that.
Oh yeah, I mean because
then you don't have to watch the whole game. It's perfect.
Just watch the first 10 seconds.
I mean the sweet spot of NBA is
so fast.
The last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, because I feel like almost 90 to 95% of the bets come down to that last. And there are some fun other markets there to hit in the NBA, but we're here talking about America's pastime, the National Football League. Moonoff, you are the guest.
Yes.
We are going to be talking props, first touchdown, a little DGen only, even a ladder tossed in there. Moonoff, what is your first prop for Thursday night football? Green Bay Packers at the Lions.
Yeah, let's start with the backfield for the Detroit Lions. I like David Montgomery in this spot. Now you can attack this a couple ways. If you want to go rushing yards over, or if you want to go take the rushing and receiving to go over, or my favorite one, I'm going to take his receiving yards to go up and over the number of 13.5 for David Montgomery. Look, he's been quietly involved in this passing game for the Detroit Lions. Take the last couple of games here, guys. Actually, the last 5 games through the air. The couple weeks ago, that game against the Packers, 23 receiving yards, 24, 20, 36, and 30 through the air there. He's getting targeted about 3 times per game, making the most of it. Well, I know we'll talk about ladders a little bit later, but this is my first prop. I like David Montgomery up and over 13.5 receiving yards. He also, last one I'll make here, running backs against the Packers through the air. Last couple of weeks here, 34, like I mentioned with David Montgomery, 56 from Christian McCaffrey in that backfield. And last week, Devon Achane had 56. Raheem Mostert had 15, and Alec Ingold also had 15 there. So collectively, 86 receiving yards for that backfield for the Miami Dolphins against the Packers. So I'll start here with David Montgomery, over 13.5 receiving yards.
Like the case for it. Alec Ingold getting loose. Good nugget in there. Kramer.
Well, I was trolling around and I was like, oh man, I can't do another Detroit running back ladder. Last time we talked about Detroit on a standalone prop show, I gave out a Gibbs ladder. I have to abstain for a week. Yeah, it's good. Another good matchup.
Sonic and Knuckles, they call themselves.
Dude, they changed their Instagram like pictures to Sonic and Knuckles.
At the same time.
That.
Did you see how Gibbs posted a picture with all the Lions?
Yeah.
Like keywords on a whiteboard behind. Like,
oh, he accidentally. Yeah.
And then the media brought it up to Dan Campbell, and he was not aware of it yet.
No, yeah. Gibbs basically did an Instagram post with like their play calls in the background, which also too, like,
who cares?
The more you're in
matter.
the NFL, like, I think Lane Johnson was even saying like the Ravens knew what the Eagles were running, and it doesn't matter really at this level. Like they know what you're gonna do.
Dan Campbell's out there playing chess. He got him, dude. He did that on purpose. Come on. Man.
Oh, I like that. Next level. Well, if Dan Campbell did, he's a great actor because at the press conference, he did not seem aware of that at all.
You know what? I need to rewatch that press conference with the thought that it was like an information campaign.
I mean,
because he might actually not be a great actor, but he might have been now that I think about it.
We remember Mike Leach, where he worked up a fake play sheet,
Texas,
and
Oklahoma.
was walking around and pretended to drop it right where he knew they would get it. That's
sharp. just so sharp.
I mean, that's just next level thinking. Shout out to Mike Leach, legend, R.I.P. Kramer, what do you got? What's your first prop? Kicking things off here.
Did you watch what Jonnu Smith? Which, by the way, Sean, how good is my Jonnu Smith take? Looking with every week, it's aging like a fine fucking wine.
I did not think they would be getting they were so bad at getting touchdowns to the tight end. I didn't think it made sense. In my defense, Mike Gesicki also having a pretty good year, but Jonnu Smith right now leader in the clubhouse for sure.
I mean, who would have ever thunk that he could have led a team, led the league and or a team with Tyreek Hill on it in receiving yards for a weekend?
Yeah, he led for the
Sunday.
For Sunday, okay.
Not Judy, obviously.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Oh no, it was last week, but there was someone else that took him down on the primetime game, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Jonnu Smith, it's weird, and they're designing stuff for him. I thought it was honestly, I thought
Arthur Smith knows what he's doing, Sean.
I thought the Jonnu Smith stuff was just part of the like, hey, Tua's out, we got to create some easy stuff, but Tua's back. It's weird. Yeah, Tyreek Hill's not getting involved as much. I don't know what's going on there.
So we saw what Jonnu Smith did. Sam LaPorta has not been doing much for this team.
No,
and this is one of the weaknesses that you want to attack the Green Bay Packers defense. They've been better against the pass of late. You look at the last couple games, a lot of people will cite, I'm sure in the lead up to the game on Thursday, that, you know, whether it's EPA or DVOA or even yards per game, they've been good against the pass recently. You can look at the competition and you can kind of pick it apart. You can even look at the last time they played the Lions and like, this was a weird game. The game itself kind of led the Lions to not needing to pass as much. And again, like you even go back to the beginning of the year, LaPorta, underwhelming season, but he's still getting over 34.5 yards in 5 of the games earlier in the year. I mean, so more than half his season, and you're in a smash spot. So we're going to take Sam LaPorta over 34.5 yards here. Very, very low. And I mean, it's not my ladder, but you certainly, you know, him having like an 80-yard game, hitting a couple rungs of a ladder, It makes sense.
Coming off a 2 touchdown game, I had his receiving yards ladder for Thanksgiving.
5 yards, right?
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns on 5 yards, and Brock Wright was wide open for 100-1 first touchdown. Stay tuned because I'm cracking this nut one of these times. Shout out to the chat checking in. Funny side up, saying Montgomery receptions 2.5 plus money on FanDuel right now. So if you like Moonoff's Montgomery catching angle, that's another way to attack it.
I also think, not to get into the game, but just, Jordan Love wasn't healthy last time. This is in a dome. There could be a lot more points in this game.
It was tough looking at the box score from last time they played because
there was a pick six,
Jordan Love's injury, the pick six, the weather was a bit of an element. It was outdoors. So yeah, I don't know how much I gleaned from looking at that game. Nathan also pointed out maybe Gibbs, maybe they sit him down for a little bit. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna get. It was an accident. I don't know how hard he gets punished, but I still like the angle of the Montgomery. Beans in the chat saying, "Is this going to be on Patreon?" Yeah, we of course. We always toss all the picks that we make on the show in the Patreon sheets. If you don't want to write them down, saves you a little time there. Or and also the weekly Patreon pick'em, $100 Circa ticket. If you're in the Patreon, do a weekly pick'em. Pretty fun there. And yeah, so where my first prop.
Okay.
Jordan Love. Over 6.5 rushing yards. He didn't have any rushing yards last time they played, but
he was hurt.
Yeah, he was dealing with that groin thing. And Aaron Glenn defense versus you can run on an Aaron Glenn defense, and I think you throw in the fact that this is a desperate game. Like the Packers are desperate for this win, need this win if they.
I love this.
If they want to have a chance mixing it up, I think there's a potential ladder situation here because at 6.5 yards. He breaks off one 20-25 yard run. He's in the mix for climbing up that ladder. I don't even know if it's going to be a ton of attempts, but I do think he's definitely going to scramble at least for 1 first down. So over 6.5. Jordan Love rushing yards. Love the angle. Love the matchup. Moonoff, what do you got here? What's another prop you like?
Yeah, this one might be a little popular one this week, but I don't think we can ignore it. Jaden Reed over 47.5 receiving yards for this week. I think I also find it a little bit curious, right? Like over the last 3 weeks, he hasn't really gotten the yardage. I mean, take a look, 23, 26, 24. But why did the books open this up at 47.5? Yeah, maybe because we're not sure if Romeo Doubs goes this week, but also the game earlier this season where he had 113 receiving yards against the Detroit Lions. The one profitable angle this season has been taking slot wide receivers against the Detroit Lions. And I'll go with Jaden Reed over 47.5 receiving yards. I think this will be a big week for him, obviously, weather not being a factor, playing inside Detroit here or in this side, just say Ford Field. But I really do like him to have a big game here. Over 47.5 receiving yards. If you also want to look at his longest reception to go over, I think the number is 21.5 as well. I think he can break off a couple of big catches here. So I love Jaden Reed this week over 47.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Slot. How's the slot?
I'm going to co-sign that. I love Jaden Reed as well. He went off in the first game. I like the matchups again in this second game. Any sort of help they're getting from the linebackers underneath, I think that's going to be gone with the slot. They not only did they lose Anal Zone, aka Anzalone, but then they lost Rodriguez, their other linebacker, ACL injury. It's weird. They are still very good against the run, although Aaron Jones had a good game. I didn't know which way to play it, but the Jaden Reed stuff is just jumping out. The Lions have the most receiving yards allowed in the league. Basically they're number one when you factor in that Baltimore actually has more receiving yards given up, but they have an extra game. So for teams that have played or that have had their bye week, leading the league in receiving yards allowed. And I know Detroit looks unstoppable, but they do have some weaknesses and things you can attack. I have a feeling I'll probably be on Detroit laying the points, but I don't know. The more I think about this, there are some matchups that are in Green Bay's favor. Kramer, what are you doing here for your second prop?
I would caution you to look at just basic stats with the Lions because they've been up.
Game flow, you're right too. And
a lot of garbage
teams
yards
have been playing behind.
There.
Yeah, if the Lions get up early in a dome, they have a chance to chip away. I mean, good example on garbage yards, Ryan. Like that Titans Who did they destroy at home? It was the Titans, right?
Yeah,
They've destroyed a couple teams at home, but yes,
Titans and Jags. You're right, but they've just completely destroyed the AFC South. But you're right. Like the Titans, I think outgained them in that game. But certainly,
well, the Packers outgained them by almost 200 yards the last time they played, and a lot of that is because they're up already. They're giving the soft DVOA. What do you think DVOA sees the Detroit Lions pass defense as? Where do you think they rank DVOA?
Oh, that's good. Cause what does the advanced stuff say about them? I would say 12th.
Number 1.
What? Wow.
According to DVOA, Detroit is number 2 overall, has the number 1 pass defense, the number 4 rush defense. It's number 2 weighted as well. So, I mean, it shows you and perhaps it just shows you there's been a lot of garbage time in their games, and so a lot of the metrics and stats you can point to. I think this is going to be this Thursday night game has a lot of angles. Just in me starting to scratch the surface on it, between like recency on how, like the angles on recency for the Packers, kind of disregarding who they've played, and also the recency on some of the angles. Or not recency, some of the angles like you're talking about, how much yardage they've given up, what the Detroit defense could look like now with all these injuries. They've kind of kept chugging along.
Yeah.
And some of that, obviously at some point you can't continue to chug along, but I think if you're going to be able to do it, it's going to be able to be against a common opponent that you have an idea how to play them. So my second prop.
Yeah.
I just executed this with expert precision on Monday night with Jameson throwing a pick parlayed with Denver money line.
Ooh.
Give me Jordan Love. I mean, the Jordan Love price is -145 if you want to get it out there.
Wow. For an auto play.
We're gonna up Jordan Love interception with Detroit money line. You can get that for +122.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're parlaying that together, that's definitely
it was +105 for the Browns game. The Browns
and Ryan, give the listeners at home the Jordan Love tracker update, the interception. It's been in every game except one, right?
No, Sean. He's back-to-back games. If you recall,
you're right, because they didn't have one in Thanksgiving.
It was a Thanksgiving miracle. Tua somehow didn't fumble or throw an interception.
The entire team was freezing. They got frozen hands out there, and somehow Tua hangs on to the ball for the entire game.
And Jordan
cost
Love
me too large.
And Jordan Love for the second game in a row managed to not throw an interception. It's a dome game. He's going to throw an interception. He's thrown an interception in every dome game he's played in this year. That's a trend you're not going to hear anywhere else.
I see some people in the chat are on an angle I'm going to be giving out here in a little bit. But
I like that, cultivating angles from the chat.
Before we do, shout out to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code SGPN. Get in there, get your 100% deposit match up to $1,000. And we gotta talk to Jake about the graphic, Ryan. We got to get. I mean, not only is Dak not playing, but and just the entire MyBookie team, what they have for their players, it's Dak done for the season. Tua has been mid, as the kids say at best, out for a long time, and then Kelsey also mid. But you know who's not mid? MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply on that bonus, but you also get a $10 free casino chip. You got that early cash out, faster crypto deposits and payouts, faster bet settlements. And really, the prop builder is super fun. If you like props, if you like putting together a wide variety of same game parlays, you can really tie together a lot of stuff. Have a lot of fun over there. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rebet. That's right, Rebet. New betting experience available in 45 states. So what? 90% chance if you're listening in the United States, Rebet is available in your state. Use that promo code SGPN and you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet in the App Store. Promo code SGPN. Third prop, Moonoff. Close it out with you, and then we got first touchdowns, ladders, DGen only. Moonoff, what do you like for your third prop here?
Yeah, I'll keep this one simple. It's been very profitable for me this season. Jameson Williams, longest reception over 22.5 yards. I think last week was the first week this season where he didn't get up and over this number. But even dating back to last season, guys, I mean, he's been an absolute monster with those long catches. Just to throw some numbers at you this season, long catches of, and this is at home, 52, 50, 70, 64 in the last game against the Jags. I know he didn't get a day done on Thanksgiving Day, but he did have 28 receiving yards in that game. But again, we know he's a home run hitter. He has a speed for this Detroit Lions offense, and I think that they'll be able to exploit that against this Packers secondary. I'll keep it simple. Jameson Williams' longest reception over 22.5 yards.
Yeah, I mean, any of these longest receptions, it does feel like are pretty money. And Jameson Williams has been explosive, really, and hard not to root for a
I'm a degenerate
fellow lover of gambling, Jameson Williams.
He really got the book thrown at him.
Yeah.
My God.
I mean, it's one thing
he was just having a parlay in a hotel.
You're betting on your team, but like the nitpicky rules were really silly. Kramer,
he literally got busted for placing a bet in the team hotel.
Yeah, because it's considered
the
facility.
It's like, come on.
Even though he's on the road, come on. Who would even think of that?
You got a VPN, guys.
Yeah. Kramer, what are you doing for your third prop? I got a defensive prop. I don't know about you. I don't know
I'm going to the quarterback.
Okay.
So I do think there, like, the likelihood that we have some scoring in this game, or at least some back and forth. Perhaps it is one of those games where we see back and forth and we see good yardage totals that don't turn into scoring. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of stuff. They're going to work the middle of the field, whether it's the tight end, the running back, the slot. I mean, we saw Amon-Ra St. Brown have 7 catches last time. I think 8 or 9 different players caught a pass, Sean. He didn't have a high yardage total, but in that game where he only threw for 170 something yards, he had 18 completions. The completion total for this game is only 20.5, a number he's gone over the last 3 games. Again, this game is inside. The last time they played, it was in Green Bay. The Detroit can't play in the cold. He still had 18 completions. So yeah, they're back inside. They're, again, a lot of small, short stuff, matriculating the ball down the field, consuming the clock, putting pressure on Jordan Love, so he eventually throws that inevitable interception. So yeah, Jared Goff goes over the completion total of 20.5, Sean.
All right, there you go. Yeah, Jared Goff sucks silent. It's been up and down. Yeah, we had a great moment on Sunday Night Football against Moonoff's Texans, which I don't mean to bring up bad times, Moonoff, but you picked off Jared Goff 5 times and couldn't get the win. I mean, Jared Goff sucks island. My voicemail was full with people asking, "Can I get on the island? Is it still too late to get on the island?" And then the bastard wins the game. Doesn't cover, of course. But you can't really complain about that.
Is that where we're going when the aliens show up?
Jared Goff sucks island. Yeah. The last place to look.
Sucks Island. It'll be something else. Sucks Island by then.
I'll tell you, doesn't suck. Za'Darius Smith. I'm going to Za'Darius Smith over a quarter sack. Yes. He's slowly been worked into the rotation for the Lions. If you remember, that first week didn't even play him, wasn't quite ready. And now it was like 66, 77, 82% snaps. He played last game. He's coming off a 1.5 sack game. I expect to be a very loud, raucous environment as an edge rusher. That's always helpful there. You get a little jump on the quarterback's cadence is fun. If you can time out the cadence, that's huge. Get a good get off, as they say. Over a quarter sack. I think to some of the game script stuff we've talked about, I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers are throwing a lot, and that's going to be more opportunities for Za'Darius Smith. And this is plus 135. Za'Darius Smith over a quarter sack. He gets a half sack. We're home. So Za'Darius Smith, and it seems like he's, watching that game, he had 1.5 sacks. It seems like he's doing pretty well pressure wise. Still don't know why the Browns got rid of him, but yeah, Za'Darius Smith over a quarter sack for me. Kramer, do we let's kick it over to the first touchdown market. Moonoff, we'll let you are the guest. Why don't you toss out some first touchdown bets you like?
Yeah, I'll give out 2 per team here. We mentioned Jaden Reed. I do like that angle for him. Again, like we always say, shop around, get the best number. 10-1 right now for Jaden Reed. First touchdown score. Tucker Kraft, 14-1. I do like that. He's been involved in the offense. Red zone target, big target there for the Green Bay Packers. Be remiss if I didn't go back to Jameson Williams. Maybe they get a home run play in the first couple of plays, or even on that first drive. He's at 13-1, and then we'll go a little bit longer odds in the end zone. In the red zone, Brock Wright, 40-1 to find the end zone for the Detroit Lions. So we'll go 2 per team there.
And I would say shop around Moonoff, because I found Brock Wright 100-1.
No,
yeah,
no, you didn't.
No, he was 100-1.
My God,
he was 100-1 for the Thanksgiving game. Update your sheet, Moonoff, because there's 100-1 floating around out there. Love me some Brock Wright. He was wide open on that play that Jared Goff decided to throw it to Sam LaPorta. Instead, maybe a case against Brock Wright, but 100-1. I'm going to keep riding this. There's another guy that I think is fun to keep an eye on. We'll talk about him in the latter portion. I think he's good anytime touchdown as well. First touchdown, Tim Patrick, 30-1 for the Lions. If you've been watching him, he's good for like 1 or 2, maybe even 3 long plays. Like he runs these crossing routes. He's very hard to take down. He gets some really good matchups because there are guys like Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra, who's feels like Amon-Ra quiet year, at least by expectation standards. I mean, their passing offense is good, but Tim Patrick has been he's been fun, and it seems like he's getting open and getting big yards after the catch on these like crossing routes.
Clearly the third guy. Yeah. Look, I got to read something.
Sure.
And I think I shared this with you already, but from November 24th in the DM, shout out to Zach Miller. He sends me this message out of the blue. Like, the last correspondence had been weeks prior. Set a reminder for mid-January. Tim Patrick first touchdown in the Lions' first home playoff game. I've seen the future. This is the kind of DMs I get.
He's a guy I'm going to be looking to play.
Yeah,
he's a big frame, easy for Goff to find. He's had and I like his longest catch prop as well. I mean, toss that in there, but he had a 30-yard catch against the Bears, 27-yard catch before. He's also had games with a 42, a 29, a 22, and they seem to be using him a lot more than they were at different parts in the season. So I think him getting loose and getting in the end zone, pretty good chances. Jordan Love is 41-1 to score the first touchdown.
Cosign.
Mention the rushing angle, mention the desperate angle, and then Emmanuel Wilson, who did have an anytime touchdown, even with Aaron Jones playing well. 24-1, him first touchdown, I think is worth a sprinkle.
I should share with you. I was kind of scoping around that same position. I did read. It sounds like Josh Jacobs has been telling the coaches, "Fuck putting me on a snap count and trying to keep me fresh. Give me the goddamn ball. We need to beat this team."
So get rid of Emmanuel Wilson, right?
I wonder if he's going to be given that option. Like, I think if you're playing Emmanuel Wilson, this is always the case with a backup running back, you're kind of playing that there won't be a touchdown in the first couple drives of the game, which in this game, I don't know if that's necessarily.
All right, so sell me on who should I replace Emmanuel Wilson with?
Well, I mean, I'm playing him with Tucker Kraft. I do think the way that.
What are you getting Tucker Kraft at?
Moonoff mentioned 14-1. I can tell you that right now.
Yes.
You go to the store. You want a good price on this. FanDuel's got FanDuel actually has 16-1.
Okay. I'm going to stick with Emmanuel Wilson because the
better price,
you don't
better go low,
better price, and not to hate on it, I do like Tucker Kraft, but the Lions are pretty good against the tight end.
I think, like, if I'm micro diagnosing the absence of the cluster injury at linebacker, that's where I'm predicting the edge here. So, all
right, I don't hate it. So you like. So officially, me, Emmanuel Wilson, Jordan Love, Tim Patrick, Brock Wright. Kramer, you got
Jordan Love. Like you mentioned, 41-1. That's ridiculous. He just scored a first touchdown a couple games ago.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft, 16-1, and then on the other side, I mean, what happened last time these two teams play? It wasn't the first touchdown, but pick 6 from Jordan Love, 35-1 for the Lions defense, and I'm playing Sam LaPorta, 17-1. he just scored 2 touchdowns. We're still getting a great discount on the price because of how strong David Montgomery and Gibbs have been, and you still have Amon-Ra there. You still have Jamo there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm playing LaPorta as well. It's a great matchup. Like I mentioned, 30th defensive DVOA against the tight end the Packers are.
And shout out to Full Nelson Fitness.
Whoa, that's a sick ass name.
Yes,
I love. And he's watching on Twitch.
A good, watch it on Twitch. Love a good.
Shout out to the chat on Twitch.
Yeah, he's also he came in with the question: Detroit DST first touchdown, and Kramer obviously likes that.
Well, I mean, like I said, juice the price up for yourself and just go straight defense.
All right, let's talk a little ladder opportunity here. Of course, time to climb the beanstalk, get the ladder out, and then we'll do DGen only underdog entry to close it out. But Moonoff, what do you like here for your ladder? Do you have any ladders in this Packers Lions matchup?
Yeah, let's just go to Jaden Reed. I'm going to continue just fading the or betting on slot wide receivers against the Detroit Lions. I believe I went back and looked. They've allowed at least 170 plus receiving wide receiver, except for I think it was the Cardinals game, if I'm not mistaken. But every other game, one wide receiver has had at least 70 receiving yards. Jaden Reed, we'll take it from there. Plus 240, 70 plus, 80 plus, plus 360, 90 plus, 5-1, 100 plus, plus 750, and then dare I say 110 or more receiving yards like he did earlier this season, 10-1 for Jaden Reed. So I'll go with that as my ladder.
Let's get it. For my ladder, we were just talking about him. I like the longest reception, but I also like the ladder. Tim Patrick starting at 40 receiving yards plus 275, 50 plus 475, 60, 8-1, 70 is the top of the ladder I'm seeing right now, 12-1. And just look at his last 2 games, 48, 53. He also has a 68 and a 52 earlier in the season. I don't know. They just something about the way he runs these crossing routes and how hard he is to tackle. I think he's good. He's good for some yards after the catch. And they seem to have like something drawn up where it's like him crossing, like them doing a deep cross with Jamo and then him coming underneath. They're definitely designing stuff for Tim Patrick. So I think he has a very high ceiling. Him getting 60, 70 yards, I think definitely see that in the cards there. Kramer, what are you doing for the old ladder here on the Lions?
I would add that if I was going to play, which I like the angles that both of you have taken. The Tim Patrick touchdown angle.
Oh yeah, I played him anytime touchdown as well. I don't know what I like better.
No, I guess what I'm saying is, you know what? Why don't I already mentioned the LaPorta ladder just for record keeping. 70 yards is 475, 80 yards is 8-1, 90 yards 12-1, and 100 yards is 21-1. But I'll use a Tim Patrick touchdown ladder. 4-1 for the anytime, 50-1 for 2 touchdowns, which shop that one around because I am seeing some 65-1s out there.
Yes,
that I do not have access.
Stay tuned for that maybe later on in the show. But I think you're onto something with the touchdowns as well, Kramer. But I think this is a breakout game.
All right, so I'll make that officially my ladder.
Okay, so a little step ladder. I like that
touchdown step ladder.
A little touchdown step ladder. Hey, maybe you want to get in on some Thursday night action. Maybe you're a listener to the Propcast. And you want to go to Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code SGPN or Machine. Shout out to Moonoff and get the 100% deposit match up. Or sorry, 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. And I just was putting in something today for the NBA Cup. Dabble with the NBA Cup because they give you these 50% profit boosts. Ryan, I'm a man who likes a little action. Why not toss in some little NBA action as well? College basketball, college football. Like it's crazy how many markets they have for fantasy projections, higher, lower, very easy. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code SGPN.
Which all right. So to clean that up, so Tim Patrick, 2 touchdowns. Sean, once again, for people who have access to BetMGM, I know it's different in every state, but you can get a 66-1 on Tim Patrick there. Yeah, I don't. 60-1 on FanDuel, by the way. So
yeah. No,
which,
I think
we'll have to call the accountant.
Stay tuned for the.
We need to make a promo.
You know,
like,
I'm a degenerate.
What was the Ben Affleck movie? But instead, it's just a guy who places a bet. But you call here, like, all right, I need to get me down on Tim Patrick 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. where's my 2 touchdown
He
guy?
pulls out a big gun looking case, but it's just a laptop computer where he logs into a FanDuel account via a VPN.
Let's do a little underdog entry, and then we'll give out the DGen only prop. All right, Moon off, kicking things off. We already gave out a bunch of props, but put on your fantasy projection hat and see what you like over in the old underdog entry. What is jumping at it? Did we keep it simple at the Jameson Williams? You gave out David Montgomery stuff. Where are we going here?
Yeah, I like the David Montgomery angle, especially since he's been involved in the offense there through the passing game. He makes the most of it. I know he's only getting about 3 targets per game there, guys, but he's making the most of it. I would go David Montgomery higher on the receiving yards for our first leg of the entry there.
Yeah, 13.5 receiving yards. Co-sign that. Kramer, I guess we got to put Tim Patrick in, right? We've been already hyping him up a bunch.
LaPorta and Patrick to me are in some of it's they operate in the same part of the field. Where
okay, well then that's a good discussion because we're going to need one Green Bay play. So maybe.
What would you want to play on the Green Bay side? We don't have to play Jordan Love interception. I like the Jordan Love rushing yards.
Okay, yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
He hasn't had a lot of rushing yards on the season, but
no, and I think that's why you're getting it this low. A lot of it was he was dealing with that groin injury, which I think he's 100% now, and I feel good firing on it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. We'll take Jordan Love higher 6.5 rushing yards, and then we'll leave it up to you, Kramer. Do we do Tim Patrick or
LaPorta yards? That would be what I'd say.
Okay, LaPorta higher 34.5 receiving yards.
It's such a low projection, Sean. You don't often see projections so low.
David Montgomery higher 13.5 receiving yards. Jordan Love higher 6.5 rushing yards, and Sammy LaP higher 34.5 receiving yards. Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. And of course, we couldn't leave without giving the DGen something.
You know, I'm a degenerate.
Oh, we know Mike Tomlin. Moon off.
By the way, are we gonna get to hear him say anything amazing on this Hard Knock show?
Probably. I mean, usually those clips leak out, but yeah, someone what was one of his players is like, "Oh, you were mic'd up." He's
Did
like,
you see the whole clip though?
No.
He walks off, and it's just like 2 NFL films producers. He's like, "Get this off me! Get this shit off me right now!" And then that's when the player walks up. He goes, "Oh, damn, you were mic'd up." But yeah, no. God bless Mike Tomlin.
God bless Mike Tomlin. Him and he has never coached Jameis Winston, right? I mean, how does
the backup quarterback for the Steelers next year? I mean, I'm praying. You know how that guy or that artist drew Jimmy Garoppolo every day?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to do something similar for Jameis
to
get him to sign with the Giants. I want Jameis to sign with the Giants 100%. One of the Giant beat reporters starting to float that idea, so I'm glad it's starting to be materialized.
Moon off. You have the honors. What do you like here for the DGen only play?
All right, so it comes around 47-1.
Very reasonable.
Yeah, well, this was a little. I was trying to reach for the stars. Nothing was really popping out to me there, but let's go David Montgomery, 25 or more receiving yards. We'll go Jaden Reed, 80+ receiving yards and anytime touchdown. And then Jameson Williams, anytime touchdown. So those 4 legs there gets you to 47-1.
I like it. Here's what I'm going to do. And Kramer, you kind of stepped on it with your ladder. And how can I not go with Tim Patrick 2 touchdowns? Now this is, which in and of its own right is a DGen play, 60-65-1. And then if you want to really shoot for the moon. Parlay that with Jordan Love anytime touchdown. That'll get it up to 216 to 1. But if you want to just play Tim Patrick 2 touchdowns by itself, 60 to 1. But if you want to really reach for the moon, you put in the Jordan Love anytime touchdown.
#Legends only.
Kramer, what about you? What do you got?
All right, so I just exposed my hand. My initial thought was, well, just hit up easy, figure out which defensive guy is going to score, and do the Jordan Love interception with defensive touch. But no, keep it simple. I do think Tim Patrick and LaPorta could have some games.
Okay,
so LaPorta to have 70 yards, Tim Patrick to have 50 yards, and for both of them to get in the end zone, Sean. Seems reasonable. So both 50 yards and a touchdown for Tim Patrick, 70 yards and a touchdown for LaPorta, 120 to 1.
Oh my God.
This is how you want to attack this defense. Now, the squares will tell you that Green Bay has limited teams to like 217 yards through the air per game. Okay.
Moon off. Good times.
Yes.
Thanks for hopping on the program. What do you got cooking up? What are your latest podcasts for SGPN?
Well, before I get to that, there was a quote I want to read to you guys. Let me see if I can go back and find it here because this will be a good chuckle.
This feels like we're about to get in trouble.
Is this a freezing cold take from one of us?
No. This is, I'll let you guys guess who the quarterback and said this. Quote, he definitely deserves a chance, another contract, and a chance to coach this team. Who said that?
What is this?
It's just a quote from a quarterback about his coach for next year.
Deserves a contract and another chance to coach this team. Drew Lock about Brian Dable.
Kramer,
what's your guess?
What I have no idea what he's talking about.
Well, that's why it's
I know.
trivia.
It's a great piece of trivia. It's not
Dak Prescott said that about Mike McCarthy.
I should have known.
Oh yeah, come on. It was right there in hindsight.
These guys are like they're like the financial Ponzi scheme guys.
Yeah.
McCarthy and Prescott are like, all right, he's almost dead.
Well,
we can just continue this pipeline of free money.
Who is on the scam of printing money from the Dallas Cowboys, getting paid a ton of money and not winning playoff games? It's an inside operation.
This
so you gotta
amazing.
have your, there is honor among thieves when you're Dallas Cowboys, because you got to keep an eye. Everyone's washing the same money. Ryan, if you're stealing from the count, everyone has to get a little taste. Mike McCarthy, if you've seen him, he gets a lot of taste. It's a fat joke.
I know the Humpty Dumpty thing though. He somehow keeps getting put together by Jerry Jones.
Well, I mean, Jerry Jones is openly interviewing for the Dallas Cowboys head coach job in the media.
Will he fire him before the end of the year?
No, I don't. No. I don't think any more coaches are going to get fired at this point. I mean, if Doug Peterson wasn't getting fired, why fire anyone at this point, right? Like you're not.
Someone's getting fired.
They've won 2 games in a row. You'll probably get a contract extension before he gets fired for Mike McCarthy.
Oh God, that would be awesome. Okay, so Cowboys real quick though. They have the Bengals at home, then at the Panthers, Bucks at Eagles, Commanders at home. If they were,
so they have 3 winnable games.
3 winnable games.
2 division games in the Panthers.
See, I don't see any of these games
Bucks?
as winnable. Ryan, I know you're a fan, but moon off.
Are they still on pace for 3-14? No, they're 4 wins now. Damn it.
If Mike McCarthy was to get fired, what game do you think it would happen after?
Probably the Panthers game. No, if the Panthers beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, that would really.
Yeah, you're
right.
Off.
You know he doesn't like David Tepper.
If he loses to the Panthers, he might get fired. And Kramer, the Cowboys are 5-7.
5-7.
I know you didn't watch the Thursday game, but they did get a win over your Giants.
It's too bad.
Moon off. Where are we at before we let you go? Where are we at with your Houston Texans?
Oh yeah, what this horrible dirty play? What's going on?
Yeah, you're trying to end Trevor Lawrence's life out there on the field. Ban him for life.
Oh yeah, ban him for life. I mean, Jesus, let's not get started on that. I think that suspension had to do more, obviously with the hit, but of course the history. They wanted to punish him for punching or grabbing the pretty boy by the throat. What was it, last season, the season prior with Tom Brady?
Yeah, that's true.
Whatever. I don't know, guys. It's honestly it's the offensive line that needs to be fixed. I think Kramer can attest to that with his Giants as well. But CJ Stroud's just getting hit. He's holding onto the ball too long. They seem a little bit fraudulent. I get it. It's a second year for CJ. There's tape on it. We'll see if they're able to close out the season. The division I know is there for them for the taking. I think they take the division, but when it comes down to the playoffs, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not very optimistic right now the way that they have been playing, but we've seen crazier things happen. I think they need somebody from Tank Dell or John Mechie to be a little bit more consistent. Like we know what we're going to get out of Nico Collins, but it's just losing Stephon Diggs was just a huge blow for this team. So if John Mechie's able to step up, or even Tank Dell, I think we're going to be okay. At least getting to the divisional round at minimum.
Keep pounding with Mixon.
If you're not familiar, the same player that murdered Trevor Lawrence on the field, Aziz Al-Shaair, he also a couple seasons ago tackled Tom Brady and put his hand on Tom Brady's throat.
It was a choke out. He's trying to end his life. I
think a couple of things can be true. I think one, he can be a dirty player. Dirty players can be can exist in the league, and occasionally those dirty players have to get suspended. 3 games is ridiculous. So
3 games is crazy. Maybe 1 game, worst case, but I would have been fine. Just find the guy and a 15-yard penalty. Move on with their lives. Good times as always. Moonoff, Kramer. We will be back talking NFL picks tomorrow.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
So you're going to be on Green Bay for this game now, huh?
No, I didn't say that. Okay. You weren't locked in, Ryan.
No, the tide seems to be turning a little bit in your opinion of this game.
There's some ways Green Bay might be able to get home. I got to get in the lab and start crunching some numbers. Make sure you check out Moonoff on X at SportsNerd824 and subscribe to the podcast, NBA Gambling Podcast, all the great podcasts on the SGPN network. You can get them in one place with the free SGPN app in your app store, wherever you get your apps. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Great show, guys.
Kramer, let it ride.